Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. We've got a bit of a busy table going on today, and we're going to have a little bit of a recap on our Pseudoglomeris magnifica, the Emerald Cockroach. Pseudoglomeris magnifica, such a sexy name. I really like that name. It's a brilliant name. Right then, so what we're going to do, we are going to have we had them in one of these, but the shorter one, and we used that to get them established. So we put them in quite a small environment. These are an arboreal species of roach. They do prefer a little bit of height, but we went with the shorter one, keeping it lower, just purely to get them established. And once we had them feeding and they were doing everything that they should be doing, then we moved them up to this next size up, which is a 30 centimetre tall one. Now we had, I think it was 37, 36 of them in this enclosure. Now, I'm trying to think, how long have we had them? We've had them a few months now, I can't remember. Maybe 4 months, 3-4 months. And they have started breeding. And they are breeding like mad. Now, they would have been okay in here. We could have kept them in here. But if you're familiar with the Komodo tanks, you'll notice on the Komodos, in where the clip is, there is a little tiny gap here. And we have on the odd occasion found very, very small nymphs of these out wandering the room. Now that in itself is not a problem. They're not going to cause you any issues if they're free roaming in your house. They won't live that long. They literally won't. They will perish in the outside environment. So, but we don't want them free roaming. We want to keep them contained because we want to breed them as best we can and as many as we can. So, what we're going to do, we are going to move over to this enclosure here. Now, this was built by my good friend Dale Ems at DMS Bavaria. This is one of his enclosures, which I've actually I picked up. It did house a spider, and we've since moved the spider out, and we put that into a different enclosure, and that meant that this one was then free. Now, the benefit of the enclosures that Dale builds is he makes these primarily for dart frogs, which means that they are fly proof. So they've got a very, very fine mesh here. Fine mesh on the top, and then on the sliding glass doors, you might say to yourself, well, sliding glass, they're going to get out of that, but you've got to run it all the way around, which seals it. And then we've also got a trim which goes on the inside glass, which is this here, and that goes to the top and to the bottom of the runner, and that seals. So when our glasses are like that, they can't get between the two sheets of glass. It stops anything from getting in or out. So that's going to make this enclosure absolutely perfect. Now it's a little bit on the large side, as you can see. It's quite a big tank, to be fair, and they don't really need anything quite this big. But this is going to be a forever home, and a tank this size with this particular type of roach will be able to hold 300, maybe even 400 of these roaches in this tank without any issues whatsoever. So this is going to be a permanent home. So what we're going to do, we're going to set it up as such. So we're going to take our glass out. There. Now then, we've looked after these in a different way to what everything on the internet says. Because the internet says they like it bone dry, and all of the different ones that we looked at, they all said keep them dry. Well, we've done the opposite. We've kept them with a reasonable amount of humidity, and they are flourishing. They are really doing well. So it's very interesting how different care sheets that are on the internet, how they vary, and how much of a difference they actually make. So it's really, really important that that when you're setting up your enclosures for any animal, no matter what it is, do some research, have a look at it, find out where they come from, the natural environment, and then you will see how best to set your enclosure up. And don't be afraid to try something new. Obviously, the more experience you gain, the more confident you are at trying different things. But don't be afraid to try new stuff. Right. So we put a bit of potting compost in there just to bulk it out a little bit. And now we're going to fill up with some of our beastie mix. There we go. I think that'll probably do. Now, as you can see by the colour of this, it is in fact really quite damp. There's a lot of moisture within this. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have, you guys will know from past experience with our enclosure builds and what have you, I do not like cork tubes. But this is going to be useful in this type of enclosure. So what I'm hoping for is that the roaches will go down here, because it's going to be dark in here. They will go down in here. We can also spray inside this, which will create a high humidity area inside this piece of bark. Now, so what we're going to do, we're going to put it in. We're literally just going to do it like that. So the base is buried. The bases get into the soil. So what we can do is we can spray down inside here, and it will run down and it will soak the bottom. We can also soak around the bottom of this piece of cork, and this in turn will create a higher humidity in there than it will out here. So it's giving us two different variables, and the roaches will choose the one that they prefer. Now, it might be a case that we check them later on and we find all of the roaches are always outside. So we then know that that's maybe not the right way to go. So then we can stop soaking it and allow it to dry out, and then we'll see what happens, whether they move in. They might not still. We don't know. So we're just going to play around. Now, we've got a nice flat piece of cork bark here. And what we're going to do, we are going to use this upside down. We're going to place that in there like that. If we can try and wedge it in. That's the idea. And what we're making here, this is going to be our dining table. This is what our guys are going to feed on. Now, being an arboreal roach, we can add some more branches. Let's see how we're going to do this. We can add some more branches. I don't know if that's going to go in there. That's not going to work, is it? Right. What we're going to do, we're going to get that in as tight as we can. That's it, that's on there. So what we're looking at is, although we put in a vertical piece of branch here, we're looking at contact points. So we want it to contact on the bottom here, obviously, which is where it's sitting, but we also want it to contact up here. And that's so the roaches can have access from one piece to the other, and they can move around. And we can, so what we're doing is we're basically making life really easy for them, to be fair. We can put different bits and pieces in like this. This is just giving them all things to climb around on, things to play about with. Put these up here like this. It's making access really, really easy for them. And we can do this, put that like so. There we go, that ain't looking too bad, is it?
Give us a look then.
That's not looking too bad. How's that look? Now then, you'll also notice now that we've not included a water bowl. We don't need a water bowl. They get all of their sustenance and their hydration through their food. Now these guys really do like fruit. So what we got here, we've got an apple here. So we're going to cut a slice off like that. We're going to do the same with a pear. So we got that there. Right. Oh dear. Right. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to put a bit of apple on there like that. It's a rather nice apple, to be fair. And we got a piece of pear there as well. We can do that there. And you can see now, this is going to make it so that we've got a nice easy place to put our food, and we can keep an eye and see exactly how much is being eaten and everything else. It keeps it clean, keeps it tidy. We shouldn't suffer with fruit flies or anything, because we are fruit fly proof. Do you know what? That's a lovely bit of apple. Really enjoying that. Right, enough of that. The other ingredients that we use is tropical fish food flake. Now they really do like this. So what we do is we just get, I'm going to get a pinch like so, and we just put that on there, like that. And now you can see with the fish food flakes, the importance of keeping it dry. And what they're after here, they are getting protein from the fish food flakes. That's what they're looking for, the protein.
You didn't want to have a nibble of that?
No, I don't fancy none of that. Don't fancy that at all. I've tried it before, it's not very nice.
Ew.
Right, so now then, what we're going to do, we can still use the pieces of bark and sticks and things that are in here. We'll take our bits of paper out, because that was the only thing keeping the little devils in. And there is babies everywhere in here. They're all up in the lid. So we've got to be a little bit careful how we just get these off. There's one there, look, making a run for it already. You see how tiny they are? Tiny, tiny little things. So we have to be careful. Right, here you go. Now you can see we've got a couple here. And this is where they've been getting, look, they've been hiding up inside the catch. And then they've been getting out through that little gap. As you can see, that one's about to make a run for it now. He's going. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this around here. And we are just going to flick them off. There's another one there. They hold on really well. Right, so we're going to take the branches out of here. These guys are so small. It really is quite difficult to see them all. Alright, don't need that bit. Alright, so we're going to, these are all wedged in here. Alright, so what we're going to do is try and pull this one out. And here you go. This is a juvenile one with some babies. Some little tiny little babies. Now one thing we have noticed is that the young animals actually foster the babies, and they all seem to take a part in the caring for them, which is really quite interesting. Let's see, they're everywhere. You can see just how small they are. Difference in their shape. This is a very young one here. You notice it's more dome shaped compared to this one, which is that little bit older, and it's more roach shaped. So there's quite a difference. So what we're going to do, we're going to flick these guys off. And I say they really do hold on. You see the babies are hidden all over the place. What we will do is we will keep the branches and things, and we will basically feed an empty enclosure until we're sure that we've actually got them all. Alright, let's go for another bit of wood. See, there's more here. See them all holding on. They really are such pretty roaches. Alright, we'll get this one over here. No good sticking your head in there, mate. You've got to come out. Look at that. That is actually like an armadillo. That has tucked itself in, and as you can see, look, we can't physically move him. Look at that. He's locked down. He's got his head under the wood there. Look at that. Now this is part of their defence mechanism. So you imagine in the wild, when other little animals are trying to come up and eat these, this is what they do. Look at that. He is locked down tight. Right. He will let go in a minute because he's going to have to. We'll flick off the obvious ones. As we go. You see, this is full of holes. See, he's almost out. There he goes. He's making a run for it. There he is. He's in. Right, we'll do that one. Another little baby one there.
Oh, there's one. He was on here. We were following him, and then all of a sudden he went.
He disappeared.
He did.
He disappeared. Right then. The main crux of them are all down there, so we're only scraping the surface so far. Alright, let's just get these ones. Look at these guys. This is a male. Look at all these babies. Shall I bring that down a bit?
Yes, please.
Well, as you can see, this is our male. Hopefully you're picking up the colours of that. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you can see here, this is a juvenile female here. And you can see there's a baby underneath. And this is because these guys are live bearers, and the females carry the babies underneath them for quite some time, a number of weeks before they're old enough to leave. This little male is going for a wander now. Look at the colouring on him. He is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Stunning. You can see these little fellas here, these are quite grown on now. They are doing so well. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to get these in here. There he goes. Oh! They literally stick to just about anything. Right. So we can just flick them off. Oh, there's one there. Oh. You know I've only got one hand, don't you? There we go. Look at that. You notice their feet there? They've almost got like suckers on their feet, which enable them to grip onto just about anything. You see them? Really, really cool. Right. Try and get these off of here. Right. Right. Let's go for this one. And this is where the majority of our adults are hiding. Now we have a look. Right. You can see under there, you can see a baby hiding underneath the mum. See them?
Yeah.
There's another male there. Two males there actually. Now this is one of the important things, is there seems to be a shortage of males in people's colonies. I think the males in some respects are better looking than the females. They're so nice. Right, let's get them in. It's easier just to flick these guys off. Look at these. Huge big females. See the colouring on that? Really, really nice. I think what we're going to do, we're going to leave this piece in here. We're going to put it under there. So they've got an option of some more damp area. And we have another female. They actually feel really, really funny when they're walking on you, and you can feel them. They're almost like sticky feet. Right. Now, if we turn this round, we can have a look here, and you can see there's a baby there on that female. These are very young babies. There's another one there. Really cool. Right. Let's see if we can't get these in here now. Oh, I think I just dropped one. I think I just dropped a little tiny baby. I think he's gone in our substrate box. Right. Get these out. Now this should in fact end up making a really, really nice enclosure. We'll get on there. Little babies. There's another male. That's a very young male. Yeah, beautiful. All right. That's him in. This one's got babies all underneath it as well. They've just abandoned ship. Now the interesting thing is obviously because these guys actually seem to share the parenting, it's not really a problem for the babies to go off in different ones. And this one has actually passed. That one's done for. Now I think once our adult females start producing babies, then I think their actual lifespan is limited. And this is one of the reasons why it's quite difficult to get good sized colonies on the go. Because I don't think I think the females only survive for a couple of years. Now this one's full of babies. Look at that. See all the babies?
Oh, load a bit. Oh, here we go.
See how they leave her?
Abandoned ship.
Yeah, it's incredible. Right. Come on, it's time to leave me now. Right. So, what we got is a few little ones, a few small stragglers, which is probably what we're going to find in this substrate now. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave this, and then as they start to venture out, we'll start to catch them up. I think that's going to be the easiest thing.
Would you tip the substrate into the new enclosure for any reason?
We could do, if we had room. And this is looking a little bit dirty, so I think what we'll do, there's a few that have passed in here. There's a male there that's obviously come to his end. You see there? So we'll take the opportunity just to keep it nice and clean. And then there we go. And we'll just, they're all up in this lid. Proving to be rather difficult. So what we'll do is we will pick them up later on in with one of our little sling pots. I think that's going to be the easiest thing. Put that one in there. Right then, so we'll get the lid on here because we don't want any flies in here. Put that on there. There we go. One very, very secure enclosure. There's another one, look, see? They will start to show themselves. You can see a couple of small ones here. Be careful we don't squash them. Although they are quite tough little things. Right then, so just as a recap, we can see now that from the, I think it was 35, 36 specimens that we had, we've actually now got many, many more. And we've got lots and lots of babies. Now the interesting thing is going to be now to see how long our adult females last. We know the males die off quite a bit earlier. They normally last around about 6-8 months. So we just need to keep an eye on and see what our adults do and how they fare. But hopefully in here now, they should breed and they should go really, really well. As we said earlier on with the food, we can try them with an assortment of fruit. I tend to stay away from really wet stuff like strawberries and things like that, just purely because they make an awful mess. So these have done really well on apple, occasionally a little bit of banana, but they haven't gone mad on the banana. So we've given them a pear today as well. And the other thing that seems to be really important is the flaked fish food, where they're getting their protein from. So that seems to play a really, really important part. And there is times where they will come out and they will mop that up completely. They'll ignore the fruit and they'll eat all of the fish flake, and then they'll go over. Now, we also saw online that many people were saying about feeding them bee pollen. Got myself a bit mixed up there, didn't I? Bee pollen, which we did buy some and we tried it, but they really don't seem to be bothered by it at all, and I never saw any interaction with it, so we've stopped using that. And again, it's sort of like it goes off after a while, so it's again something you need to keep an eye on. But the main thing we seem to have found out is that by having a humid environment, these guys really have kicked off. They've flourished no end. Absolutely brilliant. So what we're going to do, we are going to leave them like this now, and then what we should do is we'll come back and we'll have a recap in a few months' time, and we'll see whether this enclosure has suited them as well as this one did. But I think this makes a much better thing to look at them in. I think this looks really, really nice. I'm really pleased with this, and we'll see what they get up to. Right then, well, I hope you enjoyed our Emerald Roaches as much as we do. We really are quite taken with them. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I will see you soon, guys.